Severe weather, heavy rainfall, and some heavy snow also is falling out west here. But in the coming days, the biggest threat is severe weather. Starting today, we got some severe weather threat right to the east of the Rockies, moving further east into tomorrow, and moving further south and east as we get into the weekend and even into next week. We have severe weather, right? So that's what we're going to talk about, focused on the severe weather threat in today's forecast next. As far as the current hazards, we got a lot of red flag warnings and high wind advisories, high wind warnings and wind advisories out west here with some winter storm watches, winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories in the Intermountain West. With the system swinging to the east here, will bring snow, high winds along and east of the Rockies here today, right? And up to the north here, we got a special weather statement for critical fire conditions. And down in the south, again, special weather statement for critical fire conditions again today. So that threat continues with the drought in the south. You can see in California, we got a winter storm warning for the California mountains, which expires in 15 hours. All right, so quite a lot going on out west here. And some lingering flood warnings up here in the Midwest with the snow melt and rainfall we had last week. As far as the severe weather threat today, we got our marginal risk going all the way from South Dakota down into western South, I don't know how you would call it, down in towards Midland, Texas, I guess you would say, right? So just a wide area, a long area here, right along the eastern side of the Rockies as a lead trough develops here, short wave developing here, maybe some marginal wind risk, severe wind risk here, right, in the Ohio Valley. Tornado risk, we don't have any tornado risk today, although you never know, less than 2%. The wind risk is marginal here. 50 knot winds possible, greater than 50 knot winds possible within 25 miles of a given location. Generally from parts of Kansas, western Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota, and Indiana and Ohio Valley here. Maybe a few severe wind gusts, right? Hail, marginal risk of hail across this whole area where the marginal risk we showed before was, and in the Ohio Valley, marginally severe hail as well. 1 inch in diameter possible, okay? Severe threat really ramps up tomorrow. Now we have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 here in the center in Iowa, parts of Kansas, and up to Minnesota, with a larger marginal risk all the way up to the Canadian border, down towards Wichita Falls, and just to the east, the west of Dallas, Texas, okay? So quite a wide area, severe, right? So tornado risk, we now have this hatched area where we could have EF2 potentially strong tornadoes within this corridor here. Although it's a pretty low risk here, 5% tornado risk within 25 miles of a given location, but if in the brown area, right, and the 2% within the green. But if a tornado does form, it could be strong. So we'll have to see how this plays out tomorrow. Wind risk pretty much encompasses the whole marginal and slight risk area with a slight risk of 15% chance of 50 knot winds exceeding 50 knot wind gusts within 25 miles of a given location, 15% chance and 5% chance in the brown area. Severe hail is also possible tomorrow on the southern end and the central part of this threat within this 15% risk area. I'm getting my tongue tied here, talking too fast. We have potential for 2-inch hail within this hatched area, okay, with the highest coverage in the yellow shaded area, 15% chance of 2-inch hail within 25 miles of a given location. So, and then the other parts of this, we could see 1-inch hail, but not likely, not forecast. Let me say, excuse me, man, I'm getting tongue tied. I keep saying that, but man, I'm stumbling over my words this morning. Apologize, but so you know what I'm saying. We have the potential for 2-inch hail down here in the hatched area, and 1-inch hail in the other areas, right? So, with the greatest probabilities of hail, you're seeing hail in the yellow area here. And as we get into Friday, this is Friday, right? Severe threat moves to the south and east, generally centered on Arkansas with a little 2 out of 5. Overall severe risk, going back to Dallas as well, and up to parts of Missouri, Mississippi, Oklahoma, right? A larger marginal risk surrounding it, which is the 5% risk, right? So, no hatched area on this right now, but as we get closer, this may change. But this is the overall severe risk. As you can see, it moves further to the south and east on Friday. So as we go into Saturday, we got a severe risk again in Oklahoma, right? And now we have this 30% risk. They just issued this. This is a 4 a.m. Central. Just came out with this. So having a 30% risk 4 days out is pretty significant here. The larger slight risk going all the way down to parts of Texas, Kansas, parts of Missouri. So we'll have to see how this forecast plays out. They did note that there is some uncertainty still about convective initiation. So we'll just have to see how this plays out in the coming days. Going into Sunday, severe threat moves to the east. We have another 30% risk here centered in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas. Tornado. We go a little bit further out, day 7. Nothing on the map here. Let's go back to day 6. Sorry about that. And as we go further into next week, into Monday, we have another slight risk here centered on Memphis, Tennessee, down to the Mississippi Valley, Dixie Alley here, Kentucky, up to St. Louis area, Missouri, back to Arkansas, parts of Louisiana, and the small part of Texas here. Again, this forecast will be refined in the coming days. We'll see how this plays out, but I would say that the severe threat is going to continue into day 7 and 8, even though there's nothing on the map here just yet from the SBC. That just shows the uncertainty we have a little bit further out. So, but the large scale pattern supports some severe threat this time frame. So I'm going to show you all this. I think this is a great tool. It's a tool, right? But doesn't mean things are going to be exact. This is GFS overall severe probability, right? Starting today, and this is 500 millibar anomalies here. All right, so mid-level anomalies. So the 5.0 means it's that far above the normal, and 3.0 means it's below the normal. I don't know the exact. It's a sigma value, like a deviation from normal value, right? So I don't know any more about it than that, really. Sorry, but it just tells you how above normal this high pressure and below normal this lower pressure 500 millibars is. All right, here's your severe threat in between it here. And you can see why, because this mid-level feature is to the west here, and you have your high pressure here as well. And we have a little bit of severe threat in the mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley today as well, right? So let's take this off real quick. You see it predicts the highest probability of severe weather is right in parts of generally west central Nebraska today. So 30-40% chance, right? So I'm going to put this back on. I think I'm going to change it to this is a little bit better indication here. 500 millibar, right? It just shows the 500 millibar levels, right? So you can see this a little bit better. Mid-level features to the west here. It swings to the north and east, and you see tomorrow severe weather threat moves into the central part of the U.S. Okay, and we already have that severe threat outlined, right? But with the probabilities of significant severe in the general hatching area there, with the highest probabilities in eastern Kansas, right? Maybe 40-50%, although the SPC hasn't outlined that high probabilities just yet. But that's where this model thinks it's going to be the most focused. Now we move into Friday. So the severe threat moves to the south and east as this mid-level feature is up to the north here, and maybe some short waves move through the flow. It's really hard to see those on this map here. You can see how the severe threat is forecast to shift to the south here. And then we have maybe this trough is just hanging out up here and swinging short waves to the flow. We get into Saturday. already progging significant severe in this area, right? And I'll also go over the SPC outlook too. But if you want to just skip to that or go to that portion of my video, you're welcome to do that. This is just more of a detailed breakdown and in the weeds kind of analysis here, right? And I'm sure the forecasters use this tool. It's a neat tool, and I really like it. So anyway, moving into Friday, right? We see where that maybe significant severe could occur here, parts of Texas and Oklahoma. And then we move into Sunday. The trough is digging again out to the west with a more of a southerly flow here. It may be some divergence aloft as well. You see where a large severe threat is on the map here. And then it's the severe threat swings more to the east on Monday with a significant severe possible in parts of the deep south here in Dixie Alley as this trough swings through. You can generally see that here. You see this trough kind of digging right here, right? A little bit, and this significant severe there. So this is Monday, right? Going into Tuesday, you develop more of a zonal flow here with general probabilities of severe weather a little bit lower into Tuesday. Maybe some severe weather possible here in the southeast, in the deep south, and parts of Texas, and the parts of the maybe get into the mid-Atlantic as well. And then we're getting a little bit further out. Maybe another trough digging out here to the west slightly. This trough is still up here to the north, right? More of a zonal flow, but maybe a short wave. You have high pressure down to the south here. We get more uncertain, right? And we get to Thursday, zonal flow again, but this trough remains up here, general west to east flow. Just a boundary here setting up any short waves that move through the flow here could bring severe weather. So the probabilities, of course, are less here, as you can see, right? We get back a little bit with this, more focused probabilities as we get closer. So in general, the flow becomes more zonal, which leads to more sensible weather impacts to the south here. Let's go on the Friday just for giggles here. The trough moves further to the east, and you have a general zonal flow still here in the southeast boundary where this sets up. Could have some rainfall and maybe severe weather as well. So as far as convective initiation and where this stuff is going to form today, right? I mean, we have a severe threat along the front range of the Rockies and in the Ohio Valley. Looks like going in tonight, we could have some more severe convection here than out west. Potentially it could fire up here out west, but not looking too impressive here on the future radar. Maybe some severe gusty winds and hail, but not overall impressed with this severe threat today. Now, as we get into tomorrow, the future radar, Thursday, all right, you see the mid-level feature really moving to the east here, and you have convective initiation of the rotating updrafts into Kansas here on the southern edge of this. Some pretty intense line of storms developing in even hours. A low-level jet strengthens, and strong line of thunderstorms move to the south and east here. Maybe even some severe weather into Oklahoma, but we'll have to see how this plays out into the overnight hours on into Friday morning. So back to this. This is today, and out west here, we of course we got the snow and everything going on as well. If we go back to the future radar, you can see that some pretty heavy snow up into Idaho and Montana and parts of Wyoming here as that moves to the east. And then these storms really fire on the ahead of this line, right? Pretty intense line of convection like we showed here. So tomorrow is definitely a more impressive day, severe wise, with some snow on the backside here. So I appreciate y'all watching today. That's all I got for today. I've kind of run out of time again today. I appreciate y'all, and if you have any concerns, questions, or comments, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.